Right. Ever feel like taking one of those personality tests?
Yeah.
You know, the kind that tells you what Hogwarts house you belong in or what your spirit animal is?
Oh, absolutely. Those are fun.
Well, get ready for something a little different. Today we're diving into a Buddhist personality test from, you guessed it, the spiritual seek.
The spiritual seek, they always come up with interesting stuff.
They do. So this one, it's meant to measure your, get this, your Buddha-ness.
Buddha-ness.
Yeah. Like how much your personal views line up with Buddhist philosophy.
Yeah.
So are you curious to see how you measure up against some ancient wisdom?
Let's find out.
All right, let's dive in.
So I think it helps to remember what Buddhism is really about.
Okay.
It's all about understanding suffering
Mhm.
and, ultimately finding a way to be free from it.
Right. Makes sense. But how does this personality test play into all that?
Well, it gives you 6 statements,
Yeah.
each one kind of reflecting a core Buddhist concept. And by figuring out which of these statements, really click with you, the test tries to show you how aligned your personal philosophy is with these Buddhist teachings.
Got it. So let's get to these statements already. What's the first one they throw at you?
All right, the first one is, life is inherently filled with suffering.
Whoa. Straight to the point. Not exactly what you see on those inspirational posters.
No, not really. But in Buddhism, seeing and accepting the reality of suffering, what they call dukkha, that's actually the very first step towards, overcoming it.
So instead of running from the hard stuff, you face it head on.
Exactly. Suffering, it's a universal experience. It's part of life, not something we can just avoid or pretend isn't happening.
I can see that. So how about you? Does that first statement resonate with you?
Absolutely. When you realize there will be tough times, disappointments, even loss, it changes how you approach them.
In what way?
Instead of resisting or getting overwhelmed, you learn to, to kind of roll with it, accept it, and navigate those experiences with maybe a bit more resilience.
I like that. All right, what's the next statement on this Buddhist adventure?
Let's see. The second one says, present actions will influence future incarnations.
Oh, the good old karma concept.
Yeah. What goes around comes around.
Exactly.
Right? Though Buddhist karma, it's a little more than that. It's about cause and effect, but in a more, deeper way. It's like every action we take, every word we speak, even every thought, it creates this imprint.
Okay.
This imprint, it shapes our experiences now in the present, but it also influences future rebirths.
Whoa, so our choices have much bigger consequences than we might realize.
Exactly. And understanding karma, it's not about being afraid of punishment.
Right.
It's more about realizing the power we hold to actually shape our own future.
But being mindful about what we do.
Exactly. Okay, so the next statement, it's about impermanence. It says, impermanence is a fundamental aspect of existence.
Yeah, everything changes. I think we all know that by now.
True. But the Buddhist concept of anicca, impermanence, it's about more than just knowing things change. It's about really understanding and accepting that everything, our bodies, feelings, experiences, it's all in constant flux.
But isn't that a bit depressing? If nothing lasts forever, what's the point of anything?
That's where it gets interesting. Recognizing impermanence can actually be super liberating. Think about it. When we desperately cling to things, we set ourselves up for disappointment because we know they won't last.
That's true.
But when we accept change as a natural part of life, then we can find peace, maybe even joy, right here, right now, in the present moment.
Okay, yeah, I see the wisdom in that. All right, what's statement number 4? What gem do they have for us now?
All right, this one is, it is possible to end suffering by letting go of attachments.
Now we're talking. Tell me more about this letting go thing.
This is a big one. This statement really cuts to the chase of how Buddhists view liberation. They believe a lot of our suffering comes from our attachment to things, whether it's possessions, relationships, even ideas.
So not about denying yourself pleasures or living like a monk in a cave.
Exactly. It's more about learning to enjoy things without needing to desperately hold on to them. Finding that balance between living life fully and understanding that real happiness isn't found in things outside ourselves, but within.
I'm sensing a theme here. A lot of this Buddhist wisdom is about shifting your perspective. Okay, let's keep going. What's statement number 5?
Fifth one says, ethical conduct is crucial in cultivating a harmonious society.
Be good, do good.
Pretty much. But Buddhism dives a little deeper. They see sila, ethical conduct, as a fundamental part of spiritual growth.
So it's not just about following rules.
Right. It's about cultivating compassion, kindness, and wisdom in everything we do. Like the 5 precepts, they act as a guide for ethical behavior, promoting harmony both within ourselves and in how we interact with others.
Like not stealing or lying, being kind to others. Those are pretty universal, really.
Exactly. And you find these values all over the world, not just in Buddhism.
All right. On to the grand finale. What's the last statement in this Buddhist personality test?
Last one says, the ultimate goal of Buddhism is the attainment of nirvana.
Nirvana. Now that sounds peaceful. So what is this nirvana thing all about?
Well, it's basically the ultimate state of liberation in Buddhism. It's not some heavenly place, but a state of being where you're free from suffering, free from the cycle of birth and death, free from all those attachments.
So like pure bliss and enlightenment.
You could say that. But to be honest, it's a tough concept to really wrap your head around, especially coming from a Western perspective. The important thing is the journey towards nirvana, the practice of mindfulness and compassion, that's just as important as reaching the destination itself.
I get it. It's about the journey, not just the destination. Okay, so how does the spiritual Sikh score this whole thing? Like what makes someone a true Buddhist based on this test?
Well, it's pretty simple. The more statements you really connected with, the closer your views are to Buddhist philosophy. But to be honest, the score isn't the main point here.
Right. It's the things we learn along the way that really matters. So anything particularly stand out to you? Did any statement make you think differently?
You know, what strikes me is how these statements, they seem so simple at first glance, but they open up a whole world of really deep concepts. I'm curious, thinking about all this, is there one area in your life where maybe applying a little bit of this Buddhist wisdom could make a difference, like using the principle of impermanence or non-attachment to deal with a specific situation?
That's a great question for everyone to ponder. And hey, it doesn't matter if you're already Zen master or just starting to explore these ideas. Self-discovery, it's a journey, and it never really ends.
So true. It's about constantly learning and growing.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the Buddhist personality test. Hopefully you found it enlightening, or at the very least, something to make you think. Join us next time for another fascinating deep dive.
See you then.